Hello there. Top lawyers are set to sign up to a declaration saying they won't prosecute eco-loons. Looks like the law is selective then. So a group of about 120 of the UK's top lawyers has decided to sign up to something called the Declaration of Conscience, saying they won't take part in prosecuting eco-protesters in court. So a system that should have no place for openly biased lawyers appears to have spawned them. And it seems they will also not be involving themselves in defending those participating in the oil and gas industry because they are killing the planet. But no doubt they will be queuing up to continue to defend those involved in the most heinous of crimes in the UK, like murder and rape, or those who harm the young. They seem to have decided that some people are above the law. Not exactly what you want to see in professionals who are meant to take the taxi rank approach to cases and take the next one that comes along that suits their expertise, regardless of who it is. So are they now saying that well-established approach is no longer applying to them because of their conscience? Whenever did a lawyer ever have the luxury of a conscience? Anyway, one wonders if this is just the thin end of the wedge. If they're against oil and gas, will they refuse to defend a diesel or petrol vehicle driver who causes a bad accident? That would put tanker drivers out of luck, wouldn't it? And if they do defend someone like that, can they be trusted to do their best as they are required to by their profession? What next? They won't prosecute illegal visitors, maybe. Or those from certain religions or ethnicities. Or accepting clients on the political party they vote for. You can see it all coming, can't you? And by declaring themselves as having a conscience, maybe this is a form of microaggression or psychological nudging to get their fellow lawyers to toe their subjective line. Now, one of those involved is allegedly Jolion Moam KC. You know, the one that was nearly prosecuted for clubbing a fox to death in his garden while wearing kimono pyjamas or something like that. I wonder if he'll be defending those involved in animal cruelty then. Now, the people these lawyers say they won't prosecute will have been charged with breaking UK laws. Laws that Parliament makes, and the laws that the monarch gives royal assent to become laws. So if any of these senior lawyers are King's Counsel or KC, are they saying the laws that monarchs over the years have enacted are wrong? So will they be handing their silks and KC titles back? Somehow I doubt it. The more and more you see of the legal profession from judges to lawyers, the more you realise how anti-UK they are. Or at least they're anti the ordinary person on the London omnibus. As far as I'm concerned, any lawyer that signs up to that declaration has a political axe to grind. A political axe they are prepared to grind in public. And possibly a political axe they are prepared to grind in court. And that surely makes them untrustworthy to represent anyone properly, especially if they take the seat as a judge. Would you trust any of them? Now, before I get on to the revolting French, I mean the French doing some revolutioning across France, a bit on the banking collapse. So another bank is under attack from speculators. Shares in Deutsche Bank, Germany's biggest bank, plunged some 14% today as the sell-off of banking stock continued. And the bank that bought Credit Suisse at the rush last weekend, UBS, saw another 6% or so wiped off its shares today. And in London, banks like Barclays, NatWest and HSBC saw falls. In France, Société Générale was down, and in Germany so was Commerzbank. It must be all that Brexit going on out there, mustn't it? So the big Swiss deal between the regulators, UBS and Credit Suisse, which was designed to nip this banking slide in the bud, appears to have failed. And now that the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, has declared Deutsche Bank has fundamentally modernised and reorganised its business and is a very profitable bank, there is no reason to be concerned about it. So we'll all be reassured, won't we? Just like a UK Prime Minister declaring their full confidence in a Secretary of State just hours before sacking them. This banking saga has a way to go yet. Well, how's that for embarrassing? King Charles can't go and meet President Macron of France because the second country of the European Union is in flames and seemingly going through another revolution. Over 900 fires and somewhere between 1 million and 3.5 million protesters involved, depending on which side you listen to. And to cap it all, one of the excuses given is that the presence of royalty in France right now might increase the revolutionary fervour somewhat. But worse, Macron is being warned that he faces the same fate as Louis XVI, known as Citizen Louis Capet in his final days before he met his fate at the guillotine. So if Macron doesn't back down on his diktat of pushing the pension age up from 62 to 64, he's promised the same fate. President Macron the last does have a ring to it. Not that I would ever condone such a thing, of course. Sixth Republic, here we come. And all this striking, rioting and unrest in France has caused about 1 in 5 forecourts being short of fuel. You'd have thought they had just left the EU, wouldn't you? And while giving a TV interview, President Macron's expensive Bell & Ross watch suddenly disappeared. Yes, 1 second it was there, then suddenly his left hand disappeared under the table, and when it emerged, the wrist was watchless. Was it a bit of la magie? Well, no. Many are claiming he surreptitiously took it off because they were talking about how much the people of France were suffering during this cost of living crisis, and he didn't want to flaunt his wealth in their faces. Maybe he needs to get a cheap digital watch for the media then. Although if he is a successful type, why not wear an expensive watch? Or are we expecting our politicians to give up all wealth and property and wear sackcloth and ashes? And in his case, the watch has been valued from the images as worth about £2,000. Is that really excessive for a president? After all, according to reports, King Charles III wears a Parmigiani Fleurier toric chronograph C00940, and buying a new one of those today would set you back between 20 and 120 grand, depending on the model. But one supposes that's okay for UK royalty.